Indiana's defense was stifling all game long. They held the Hatters under 10 points in 3 quarters and to under 19% from the field overall. Turnovers were aplenty, with both teams struggling to hold on to the ball. The Hoosiers turned the ball over 20 times, 8 more than their season average. The usually sure-handed Chloe Moore McNeil had 6 of her own, a career high. Behind another scintillating three-point performance, Indiana picked up a 74-68 victory at Purdue. The Hoosiers knocked down 15 threes, the second most in a game in program history. They got 5 from sophomore Yarden Garzone and 6 from sharpshooting senior Sarah Scalia. Indiana got out to a blazing 16-2 run to start the game and led by 15 at the half. They held the Terrapins to just 24 first-half points, their lowest halftime mark this season. Leading the way was a 3-point barrage from Scalia and Yarden Garzone, who combined for 7 in the half. It was a double dip between Indiana and Maryland this weekend. The Hoosiers and Terrapins squared off in both men's and women's hoops on Sunday. Let's start with the men in College Park. Senior day for the Terps, both these teams desperately in search of late season wins. Here in the first half, Anthony Allele to Xavier Johnson playing close to home and knocks down the 3, ties it at 17. Johnson had 13. Other end, Julian Rees in the paint with the contact, gets the 2 and 1. 25-20 Terps, they led by 10 at half. In the second, Mackenzie Mbako makes a man miss, drives in, gets the 3-point play, cuts it to a 4-point game. 24 points for the freshman, another career high. Tie ball game, transition play for the Hoosiers. They get the steal and Trey Galloway, the tip, gets the score. Indiana works it all the way back, 66-64. Wouldn't be an Indiana highlight without one of these. Galloway the lob, Khalil Ware the finish. Indiana lead by 8. Under 4. Now Trey Galloway around into the paint. Little runner gets it to fall. Indiana come back to win 83-78, the Hoosiers' third win this season after trailing by 15 or more points. Now to the women at Assembly Hall, senior day for Mackenzie Holmes. First quarter, Yarden Garzone steps into a 3-ball, leave her wide open, she'll make you pay. Hoosiers off to a blistering 16-2 run to start. Second quarter, Sydney Parrish drives in off the glass for 2, gives her 1,000 career points. 23-16, Indiana. Third quarter, Sarah Scalia, nasty step back 3 and drains it. She led all scorers with 19 on her senior day. Fourth quarter now. Lexus Bargesser, shortest player on the court, but able to get the rebound and the putback. Hoosiers running riot at home. 71-54 the final from Assembly Hall. Indiana make it back-to-back seasons unbeaten at home in the regular season. That's 31 straight wins. Indiana finishes third in the Big Ten and get the double bye. They'll open out tournament play on Friday night in the 4th and final game of the day. For IU Sports Media, I'm Alex Hynes. Indiana women's basketball gets their 11th straight win over rival Purdue, 95-62. But there was bigger history in Bloomington on Sunday, as with 17 points, Mackenzie Holmes passed Tyra Buss to become the Hoosiers' all-time leading scorer with 2,365 points.
Going into the season, I knew it was within reach for me, but it wasn't something that, I didn't come back for a 5th year to break the all-time leading scoring record. I came back to win Big Ten championship, win national championships. It's just a really special thing for me where Indiana comes to my chest every single day, and play in Assembly Hall has just been one of the greatest blessings in my life. So I think I just was kind of feeling that when I saw, Tyra and Amanda up there on the screen.
We were going to get it one way or the other. Whether she got fouled, got to the free throw line, but like I said, we knew, felt very confident if we could get Yarden in, Yarden would find her. And she is proud, as I said, we were walking off, and she said, this has been a huge weight that's now off my shoulders. So it's not something that she hadn't been thinking about. It was great to see the thing go in. Again, the applause, the cheering, all that was pretty special. And I know that her teammates are super excited for her.
Coming off a triple-double on Thursday, Chloe Moore McNeil had another career day on Sunday. She led all scorers with a career-high 22 points, including a perfect 5 of 5 from behind the arc.
I think this against Purdue, it just means more. And I'm always competitive, but I think it's just different when it's a rival team.
We asked her to be more aggressive, and that's what she's doing. She has been. I loved it. I love the fact that she stuck all those threes today.
Indiana heads to Madison on Wednesday to take on the Wisconsin Badgers. From Simon Scott Assembly Hall, I'm Alex Hynes, iOS TV Sports. Indiana baseball picked up another Big Ten series win behind a 12-3 victory over Penn State on Sunday. In a weekend that was filled with young players making their mark, it was redshirt freshman Joey Brincheski who starred in Game 3. Brincheski went 4 of 5 with a career-high 2 home runs and 7 RBI. His second inning grand slam capped off a 5-run frame that the Hoosiers didn't look back from. From there, it was sophomore Aiden Decker-Petty who went 4 1/3, giving up just 1 run to shut the door.
I cannot heap enough praise on Joey because I ride him hard. And if you ask anybody in the program who's Merce the hardest on, they would all say Joey. But because I believe him and he's capable and he's good enough. And so you have a day like today and all that work and all that holler and all that yelling and all the extra time, it's like that's why. And so again, he played amazing last weekend at Maryland. He comes out today and has a game-changing day for us. Other guys that haven't thrown a ton, ADP hasn't thrown a ton recently, and to have those guys to be able to mid-weekend, we changed pitch planes a little bit, went to the elevated backdoor slider and fastball up, and then ADP's changeup, was the difference for him. And so just the ability to continue to work while you wait, and then to just keep fighting. Not to harp on it, but we've had guys obviously get hurt, and kind of we're in that in-between phase earlier in the year. So you're watching those guys have to grow up, and so you kind of, I've mentioned it, but it's like you have to go into a player development phase maybe a little bit sooner than you would like, but that's life.
After losing Game 1 and trailing 8-0 in just the second inning of Game 2, Indiana outscored Penn State 22-4 over the final 16 innings of this series. Indiana will host Evansville here on Tuesday before trekking to Minneapolis to take on Minnesota as they look to make it 3 straight Big Ten series victories. For IU Sports Media, I'm Alex Hynes. But my big takeaway was the 3 big newcomers coming from overseas, from Japan and Korea. Yamamoto, Imanaga, and then Jung-Hoo Lee going to the Giants. All 3 had really great starts. If you take away that one start in Korea for Yamamoto, I'm sorry, Henry.
Move on.
5 innings, 5 strikeouts, scoreless outing in his home debut. Imanaga, 6 innings, 9 strikeouts for the Cubs in their opener. And then Jung-Hoo Lee, 7 of 24 to start the season. Already is his first home run with the Giants, and I think he was the one question mark maybe of those 3 coming over from the KBO. He's lived up to the hype, and it just goes to show, remember, these guys are still pros. They've played professional baseball for several years. They're rookies only by Major League Baseball standards. I'm going to go with the NL West. I've already talked about the Diamondbacks. The Dodgers are obviously the team to beat, but that Padres team was generationally unlucky last year. That was a really tough season for the Padres, but they still have some great talent. Fernando Tatis could be an MVP this year, and that rotation made some changes even though they lost Blake Snell. They still have a rotation that, well, I'm not as high on them. They're still good players. And the Giants, I talked about Jung-Hoo Lee. They've got Logan Webb and Blake Snell if he can put up a good season after that Cy Young year. Those are 4 really good teams, and then you've got the Rockies bottom feeding. But those are 4 teams. Those are 4 teams that are capable of making the playoffs in some capacity. Well, let's go to the American League Cy Young. I'm going to go back to those Mariners. I think they could potentially have 3 players getting Cy Young votes this year, but the player that I think is going to be at the top of that is George Kirby. George Kirby is elite at painting the corners. He had a 2.5% walk rate, which is just absurd last year. He just doesn't walk guys. It's that simple. He had more walks more home runs given up than he had walks allowed, which just seems really crazy to think about. So if he can limit the amount of contact overall, because he did give up a few extra hits than I'd like to if he's a Cy Young, but he pitched really well. I think he's going to really break out even further. He's just 26 years old. I think he will win a Cy Young at some point in his career. I think this year could be the year. National League, I'm going to go with Zach Wheeler of the Phillies. He's been arguably the best pitcher in baseball over the last 3 years.
Have him on my fantasy team.
Oh,
Good pick. Good pick.
there you go.
But since 2021, he's been at the top in Fangraphs wins above replacement. He's been one of the highest guys in terms of strikeouts and innings pitched. Guys who pitch more innings are more valuable than those that don't. Simply outs matter. And I think he's one of the best you're going to get at that. He honestly could have won in 2021. I think he will do it this time around.